Hello, this is Alec Kerr, the film critic for the Conway Daily Sun, with my thoughts on Judd Apatow's third film as a writer and director, Funny People, starring Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen. Now, Judd Apatow has kind of become the reigning king of comedy because outside of the three films he directed, he's also either co-written or co-produced or produced some of the biggest comedies of the last few years, including Superbad, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Walk Hard, Anchorman, Talladega Nights, and so on and so forth. Now this film was kind of a departure for him. It was sort of being early buzzed was that it was a drama, but this is still very much a comedy, but it's leaning more towards the drama side. So some of the fans of the more outrageous humor of Knocked Up and 40-Year-Old Virgin might be a little turned off by some of the more serious, somber moments here. Don't get me wrong, there is some very, very raunchy, vulgar, and very, very funny material here, but there's also some more quiet moments, so some more restless viewers might become, well, restless. And the film is very long. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes almost, so that's definitely very long for a comedy, and it does slag a little bit, especially in the last third when it kind of takes a new plot development. And I won't get into what that plot development is because if you haven't seen the trailer, I don't want to give away a spoiler. As is happening too often, I think, with trailers, they're just giving away too much of the plot here, and there's a big plot development that is revealed in the trailer, and if you haven't seen the trailer somehow, I don't want to give that information away. The plot here is that an Adam Sandler-like comic turned, big movie star, is diagnosed with leukemia, and Judd Apatow has kind of been on the record as saying this is like the worst case scenario of what Adam Sandler could have become if he didn't have a family to kind of anchor him, because his character, George Simmons, is basically he's just a jerk. Essentially he's Adam Sandler that we know and love publicly, but privately he's just kind of bitter and tired of his, shallow, wealthy life, and just doesn't have any friends. So when he finds out this news that he's, dying, he kind of reaches out to this struggling comic played by Seth Rogen and hires him to write jokes for him and to essentially be his personal assistant. And their dynamic is really kind of the center of the film. And it's interesting because Adam Sandler is just so much of a jerk here, even though Seth Rogen's really kind of trying to reach out to him and truly be his friend and not just, a lackey, and Adam Sandler's just kind of pushing him away and kind of just seeing him as an employee, but at the same time sometimes treating him like a friend. So it's an interesting dynamic. And Adam Sandler, for those who haven't seen him show his dramatic side in movies like Punch Drunk Love and Reign Over Me, will be surprised by his performance here. It's very good, and I think a lot of people don't realize that he does have some deeper notes that he can hit instead of just the silly voices and stuff. And believe me, there's plenty of him doing the silly voices, and he even does a silly song here, but it's a little bit darker. He also does, and this will surprise people, he does John Lennon's Real Love, and he does it very sincerely, and it's very well done. And I think people will be surprised by that moment in the movie. And there's also a lot of other great people in the movie. Jason Schwartzman and Jonah Hill play Seth Rogen's roommates, and they're all struggling comics. And Jason Schwartzman is particularly funny as the one that has the most moderately successful of the three. He's on a sitcom called Yo Teach. And the fake show is very funny. There are also some very funny fake movies that are kind of like parodies of Adam Sandler movies that are very funny. And it's kind of nice to see Adam Sandler poke fun of himself a little bit there. It's a little too long, as I said, and the kind of a little plot development involving Adam Sandler trying to win back his ex-girlfriend who's now married to Eric Bana becomes a little bit too formulaic, especially when the rest of the film feels really fresh and the dialogue's really fresh. There's some notes that the film hits towards the end that seem a little too obvious and a little too familiar, especially since a lot of the rest of the film feels really, really fresh. That being said, I really did like this film a lot. I like the maturity of it and the maturity of Seth Rogen and Adam Sandler's performances here. They definitely show different sides of themselves, and I think this is a step forward for Seth Rogen as well. It's a good movie, so I definitely think you should check it out if you're a fan of Judd Apatow and Adam Sandler. And but be warned, this does have raunchy humor, and I think anyone going into that should know that already. But if for whatever reason you didn't realize that, be warned, there's definitely some scatological humor here. Anyway, this is Alec, and keep watching.